My guest today is Governor Rick Scott of Florida. Father, a bus driver, mother, a store clerk. The governor worked in a grocery store while attending University of Missouri. Go Tigers. A tiger himself when it comes to business. He is this country's foremost entrepreneur with a natural progression of 2 donut shops, 25% fat, 15% sugar, to hospital beds, 340 hospitals in all. Founder of HCA Inc., the largest private operator healthcare facilities in the world. Welcome.
I sold them donuts, and then if they had health problems, I helped take care of them there.
It was a natural
Never
progression.
thought about that, but I guess that's what happened. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing great. We have a trivia question for you on Friday.
Oh, no.
Now, you'll like this one. You'll like this one. Okay. If you get the answer right, we donate $100 in your name to St. Jude's. If not, you'll have to send me a box of donuts. Here's the question. What is the most popular kind of donut sold in the country? So this is an easy one for you. What is it? Wait, no, wait a minute. Let me put the clock on so you can really think this out. The most popular donut sold in this country.
It's glazed.
Hey, you got it right. All right, $100.
You know, I worked, was my first Let's Get to Work day. I went down to Nicola's in Tampa. She has 2 stores, just
Right.
like and I worked there. And I told her, I said, look, I don't know that I'm the best at making donuts. My mom did that, but I can sell them. We sold 240 dozen in less than 2 hours.
Wow.
They weren't selling, they didn't make any brownies or apple fritters. So about 2 weeks ago, my mom went down there, and my mom's 83, just turned 83. She went down and taught her how to make those. So I hope those are going well.
Matter of fact, the stores you opened, right, in Kansas, that was for your mother, right? She managed it?
I was the second of 5 kids, and I'd gotten out of the Navy. I was enlisted in the Navy.
Right.
My mom was struggling because my dad was disabled by then, so she needed a job. And we did, we did well. I was going to school full time and working full time. So was my wife. So my mom ran the donut shops. We helped her whenever we weren't either working or going to school. So it was a great time for our family.
Talking about that, about helping, there's 11 million homeowners underwater in this country, which you know many here in Florida underwater. What can we do to help these people here in Florida? Let's think about it. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, who intentionally, they first tell the people they're approved, only to be told they're not approved. And they say, well, there's some error. The modifications declined. Then you have Bank of America. Does not even allow the homeowner to talk to anyone but those in collection departments. This is ridiculous. This doesn't make any sense. Governor, what are we doing to take care of these abusive practices in these banks here in Florida?
Well, one thing we've got to do is we've got to look at every one of those companies. Any abuse they have, we've got to hold them accountable. The thing that's going to have the biggest impact on getting our homeowners in a better shape, though, is job creation. So we've got to continue what we've been doing this year and get more people moving into our state. We've got to get more people with jobs in our state. That's going to have the biggest impact. And as you know, last Friday we announced 110,200 private sector jobs so far this year, and that's from the last 4 years we've been losing jobs. So we've turned the corner. We still have over 900,000 people out of work. But as we get more people to move to our state, as we get more jobs in our state, we're going to solve the housing crisis.
And you're absolutely right. Jobs. And Washington doesn't get it. And you got to get jobs by fixing the housing. And here's my point. HAMP program, they just came up with a program. It was a failed program from the beginning. Now they're going to do it again. Isn't it better? All these programs, Hope for Homes, HARP, FH, all failed. Isn't it better that the government get out of the way and take these houses? They're not doing the people any good by sticking them in their house and say, hey, rent it for the next 30 years, because they'll never get their value back. In fact, they're duping them, thinking they're going to get their value back when they can't, because we'll never put back the system, the corrupt system that was in place that made those values. Aren't they better off? Let's take these houses. Government, get out of the way. Let's put it in some trust, and let the market take over. Let's liquidate these houses, whatever the price is, it is, and that's how we're going to start creating some jobs. We got to get rid of that problem. Am I correct?
Well, look, all these government programs spend your money, rather than what they ought to be doing is doing everything they can to reduce the size of government, reduce the cost of government, reduce taxes, so people want to build companies in America and create more American jobs. And that's what I just got back, as you know, from a trade mission to Brazil. It's our biggest trading partner. We have the most number of tourists that come into our state are from Brazil. It's how do you get the private sector growing? How do we get even more people to visit our state? How do we get more people to move to our state? How do we get more businesses to open in our state? That's what's going to change the housing, improve people's lives. If you think about it, we've got to do everything we can to get people back to work, get people in education, and that's what's going to solve the problem. And then on top of that, as we do more shipping, as we do more manufacturing that we export in the state, that's what's going to raise the standard of living for Floridians.
But still, though, if you got a house that's upside down and you owe $100,000 more than it's worth, and they're trying to keep them in that house, to me, I just don't see that, because I see two problems. You're not helping the homeowner. He's better off getting out of the house. Let's take that house. Remember they had the resolution trust back in, I think it was the 80s, where they got out and they just, whatever you bid on it, whether it was a apartment house, that was your house. Wouldn't it be better to do, because to stay in a house for 30 years, and okay, they drop your payment $200. Well, $200 is going to take you 41 years if you have 100,000. If you're underwater, 100,000. I just got to believe we got to focus on that too. Am I wrong? I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Let me tell you, I lived in Texas when the Resolution Trust was organized.
Right.
As you know, Texas was in deep trouble financially. Nobody would lend money to Texas. So what they did exactly what you said. They took all the assets, they sold them off to the highest bidder, and the values came back. So the free market works. We've got to let the free market work. But the biggest thing here is jobs. It is absolutely getting people back to work and getting people. Think about it. People want to move to our state. And they love our state. People want to do business here. So we've just got to continue to make it a better place to do business. As you know, last session, I cut business taxes for smaller companies, cut homeowners taxes, property taxes. We cut regulations, and I'm going to continue to do that this time. I'm putting a lot of effort into education, making sure that our kids, get the degrees that they're going to get jobs. They're science degrees, technology degrees, education degrees, math degrees. Those are things that's going to change the direction of our state.
Now, and you're so right. And why is it then that we can't convince this president? I mean, he's back to, this anti-business, let's go get the millionaires. I mean, look, come on, the millionaires are the small business who create these jobs. And I got to believe this class warfare is not going to help us one bit. But what is it that they don't get, that he doesn't get?
I think that, people that don't grow up in the private sector, but just don't understand it. The whole economy, our country, has been built on free markets, on capitalism, on the idea that the private sector builds businesses. All the government does is make it difficult to do business. You just listen to business people, and they just talk about the regulation, the permitting processes, the taxes, the fees. We make it so hard. Because here's what I think about. What I say, when you go shop, you don't say, oh, gosh, I'm going to pay more for that product because I understand that if they make it in that location, they pay higher taxes, or they've got more permitting they have to do, so it costs them more money, or more regulation, or they've got that risk of litigation, so they're going to have to charge me a little bit more. No. What you do is you say, no, I'm going for price. If that means it's made in Florida, that's great. Maybe if somebody else can do it because it's made in some other state cheaper, they're going to win, or another country, they're going to win. So we've got to make Florida and the United States the place where business people can win the hearts and minds of consumers.
That's what I want to ask you. Do we have some sort of task force in this state to go after these cities, like the one I live in, Sarasota, who are totally anti-business, anti-economic development? They put people on planning boards that are in lockstep to say no. To get a sign permit would take you 2 years. Who they put on these boards, these people who are just so anti-development, it's incredible, and that don't share your ideas. There's some sort of task force. We're so frustrated in this city of Sarasota, the entrepreneurs like me and the rest of us, you can't get anything done. They hate business people. The city manager is down the street, 1 block from us, Governor, and he's never walked up here and walked in at any of our business and said, what can I do to help you? 1 block, never, 1 business, anti-business. Is there any task force or anything that you're working with to change that?
We have a efficiency task force that Abe Usella, who lives in the down the Sarasota area, is running, and it's how do we. Here's why I think about my job. I've got to make sure the state of Florida is the model. And then you got to lead by example. say, I'm going to get rid of regulations. I'm going to get taxes, fees. I'm going to get rid of permitting processes that just don't make any sense. Then I tell people, look, if you have a problem in any area of the state, I will call the elected officials. I'll call the city manager, the mayor, the commissioners. I'll call and say, look, here's what you're doing. Right? We want growth in the state, but you're absolutely killing jobs. And that is the way I believe you do it. Now, we also are slowly doing is highlighting the differences. Why is it cost more money to do business in one area than the other area? So we're working on putting more information out to show people that here's what happens if you have high impact fees. Here's what happens if it takes 2 years to get a permit. Here's what happens if you have regulation that you don't need. It just makes it difficult to do business. Those companies, what are they going to do?
Boy, you are so.
Move.
That's what's happening in our city here in Sarasota. It's a nightmare for us, and
I put some task forces together. I mean, just one as an example. Looking at our taxing districts around the state for hospitals. Right. Is that good for us? I mean, do we get a return on that? If not, why are we doing it? I'm just putting together groups of people to really look. I mean, it's no different than what I've asked our universities to do. Show me how you're making a decision about what programs you have, what education you're given to. Are you telling the students where the jobs are? Are you solving employers' needs? How are you spending your dollars? Are you spending them well? What's your measurement? We know the jobs in the future are science, technology, engineering, and math. How are you highlighting those programs? Are you growing those programs? Where are the degrees? So you take everything from utility costs to our education system, to why people build jobs, just going piece by piece every day through that. Because I care about people. I grew up in a family living in public housing. My parents struggled my whole childhood, so I know what it's like. I had the lucky. I was very fortunate to be born in America. Have parents that pushed me to get a great education. I went into the service United States Navy when I was 18. It was a great experience. Got out, finished my degrees, and started building companies. And
I love it. You're a real success story. That's great. I was named Entrepreneur in the United States with Inc. magazine.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations.
And that's why I'm so frustrated. We're recording this, but we'll cut this out. But that's why I'm so frustrated with our city. All of us are the business people here because we're entrepreneurs. We build businesses, and you can't build it. We came in. They'll take our park down here, which I fought for almost a year and a half. It was a homeless. They want them right in the center of our city, and they want them there so that we could not develop. I know I do. I'll look, and maybe you did this too. You look at a city or you look at a government, you say, God, why can't they run it like a business? So, did you ever say that when you looked at running for government? And then, is it possible? Because is it so that these bureaucrats, these professional bureaucrats, they're so embedded with the mentality of mundane, the average, that can you actually run a state or a country like a business?
Well, you better hope so. I mean, it's absolutely that's how you should do it. Now, here's what people think.
But you got to fight that mentality, don't you? When you go in?
You do it every day.
Okay.
Think about why. Here's what I try to do. What's the goal? Here's what you do in business. You say, what's the goal? Then measure it. See what's working, what's not working. One thing I have done since I've been governor, I've bought. You ever read the book "The Goal" by Goldblatt?
No.
Goldblatt. It's just a book that talks about the value of creating measurement. And so I've given it. I think I purchased 100 copies, then gave it to 100 people in state government here, and said, look, we're going to measure what we want, and then we're going to keep improving. I just bought a bunch of copies of Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Right.
The other thing that works in business, treat people with respect. And that's what Dale Carnegie always taught in his books. And so what I'm trying to do is make sure government does work like a business. That's what you do in business. You set goals, you measure, you constantly change, and you treat your customer well. The customer here is taxpayers. I want to make sure taxpayers believe they're getting value out of their state government.
And this is great talking to you about this. Governor, thank you so much for this interview, and it's enlightening. We really
Great day.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.